Are you currently under contract on a new construction home, or you're looking to get involved in new construction here in Orlando? Well, in this video, I'm going to talk about some crazy horror stories and what's going on right now with rising rates and people that are caught in the middle of contracts with their builders and potentially losing them because of cost. Let's get to it. What's up, everyone? My name is Cameron Hodge. On this channel, I talk about moving to and living in Orlando, Florida, and I absolutely love it. I drop videos for you every single week. But what I love even more, being a licensed real estate agent, is helping you with the real estate decisions here in Orlando, Florida. I don't care whether you're moving here or you already live here, looking to make that next decision in your life. I absolutely love it. This number popping up below is how you can get a hold of me. Call, text, email. It does not matter. I'm here to help you in moving to Orlando, Florida, and I absolutely love it. This is what I do day in and day out. So, getting into the topic of this video, holy cow, new construction homes here in Orlando. Sure, there's a lot of opportunities still coming up, and the point of this video isn't necessarily for what's going on, for how the deal's going. It's really talking about those who are already in contract on a new construction home. And you know what, this video is definitely one I felt like I had to make, because I've had a conversation with friends and family and other people from across the country, not just here in Florida or Orlando. And a lot of people are caught in this conundrum. So if that's you, then stay tuned and we'll just keep talking about it. So let's say, for a lot of people who had jumped into new construction homes earlier this year, maybe late last year, you're probably finding yourself in a situation where maybe you didn't lock your interest rate. And that's scary, right? Because last year you were looking in the 3%. Now you're, as of today, 7% is the average for a 30-year mortgage. That's crazy. And now, you're probably in a position where the bank's probably like, hey, Jack, hey, you probably won't qualify for this loan anymore because your monthly payment amount went up about like $900. And you're like, what the heck, man? Yeah. It's scary, and a lot of people are caught in this situation. So I just kind of wanted to give you some tips on what you can do, or maybe even if you're looking to get into new construction, keep in mind that you need to be willing to kind of negotiate. So with rates being higher, what are we seeing? Look, even in the resale market and new construction community, there are a lot less buyers getting into the market because they're just, they're scared. They don't want to pay that much money, or maybe they don't qualify for the home that they wanted anymore, so they're just staying put and waiting. And the new construction community is not immune to that. So now, this isn't in Orlando, but this is going to spark off the rest of this conversation. Houston, Texas, had another partner out there, and they had a client who was in contract on a luxury new construction home at $980,000. They were like, "Hey, Joe, we can't afford this anymore. I'm not paying this price anymore. The builders passed their contract date. We're done." So when the agent went to put in the notice to cancellation, all of a sudden the builder's like, "Well, we were actually just going to relist it for $740. Does your client want it for that?" Nuts, right? And this is actually very common in multiple situations like this across the country, and even here in Orlando, right? And what's really happening is, for builders, because of the rising interest rates, with most resale homes dropping 5%, new construction is generally obviously going to be higher than its equivalent resale home because it's a brand new construction. Makes sense, right? But even they are seeing price reductions or just having a harder time getting people to buy the home. Remember, from the builder's perspective, it's all marketing. All they need, they have a bottom line, they have a profit they're trying to hit, and they just market the heck out of those properties to people like you, trying to get them, as many people as possible, to buy their homes. I don't care if it's buying in a community or it's just going to a builder and buying and building a standalone home like I did, right? There are issues that just come up. Now, one thing you need to be aware of is that it is painful, right? And I will tell you that, while I've talked about this before, I actually have been in the process of building another home here in Orlando, and I am in the same position. So I'm really excited to kind of work through this myself, and I'm probably going to battle over myself to see what I can do here. But I'm not immune to this, right? You know what? We were like, we want to take this next step in our life here in Orlando. And we were like, all right, let's do it. Let's do another one. And getting to the process, we bought this other lot last year. I'm going to keep the location private for now. But we bought this lot last year, and we were like, okay, we're going to do this. Obviously, being a veteran, I get a VA build loan. Super cool because I don't have to really put much money down. But we didn't lock the rate. didn't choose to. I was not gonna lie, I anticipated rates could go up to 5%, and I chose. So I'm like, you know what, I'm willing to take the risk. I ran the numbers. I'm like, I'm okay with this because, like I said, the price was locked. Well, things have they gotten out of control for that home. And now, while trying to not only maintain my current living situation that I'm doing, I also have to make sure I'm now taking into the loan account. The loan's like, hey, you need to make sure you take care of your current living situation to make sure you afford this one. And rates have, 7%. It is painful. But really what it's coming down to is I hear stories like that, and I'm like, you know what? This is going to benefit someone. I'm willing to be a guinea pig. So I'm now working with the builder, and I'm like, hey, like really what's coming down to is I need either a price reduction or you to buy down the rate. Mind you, I've already gotten 4% in closing costs covered by the builder. It was an awesome situation. I took it. Honestly, at the time when I locked my contract in for this newer home, I was doing great. You know, I was like, hey, I'm doing great. The price was already, even when I signed the contract, they actually raised the price of their model, you know, the year after. And unfortunately, while the price was great, it is no longer that great. And overall, I'm okay with it. But really what it comes down to is because of like having to pay my current living situation and also afford this new living situation, I only can do so much, right? There's only so much I can do without like quadrupling my income or having massive amounts of cash, especially with the underwriter working through this situation. I know I'm not the only one. So what, you know, I got an ultimatum. It's like, hey, we either got to adjust this price or we got to buy them. You got to willing to buy down the rate or something like that. I'm not going to come out of pocket for this, because at the time my home was set to be like a 9 or 10 month completion date from the date of it being done, and we are now past that. We are now past that date. So in reality, I could back out, get my deposit back, and you know, cut any losses I do have, like surveyor fees and things like that, and just move on with my life. Do I want to? No, I don't. But again, hey, life's not easy, and there are always situations that come up. So knowing what I do know, I'm now going into it where I'm like, hey, we got to negotiate this, and currently are in negotiations for potentially making this happen. Now, I will tell you the builder I chose for this one, medium-sized builder, so this possibility exists. From what I've been hearing and seeing, especially with other clients, is look, when you're in with a new builder like a Lennar or like a DR Horton, like these big players in the game, they're not as flexible. Most of the time, because they have the money to market for the new home, they could be like, hey, take a hike, whatever, you don't want it anymore, that's fine. Even if we're going to pay less, we're just going to boom, boom, next person, moving on. Because they only do large communities, so it's easier to do that when you're doing a community. These builders that build standalone homes, not in a community, they kind of got to, you know, it's harder for them to have to go back to the drawing board and sell a home that's not built yet, right? And not to mention trying to get it for a price that they can with this current environment of prices dropping even 5%. Like, that's massive for them. That stinks. That is not something they are trying to do. They want to make money. So it's easier for them to maintain and keep their current clients and have to go back to the drawing board and market and sell another home. So really interested to see how this plays out. Of course, if you're watching my channel for a while, you know I'm gonna come back and do a video to let you know how it went. But that's, if you're in another situation like this and you're building new construction, I implore you to, even if you easily can afford a higher interest rate in the current situation you're at, it doesn't hurt to reach out to the builder and say, hey, I need something for this. Like, I think because of market conditions, I want to either reduce price, or I want closing cost benefit if you're not already getting one, or I want you to buy down my rate as much as possible. Like, I implore you to negotiate. Life is a negotiation, and if you're not willing to stand up for yourself and what you deserve, you will not get it. And you don't ask what you don't get what you don't ask, and that's so true. So I can tell you, new construction, man, even like I did a video a couple months ago, or like a month ago or so, about like this condo hotel that's being constructed near Disney. Now there's other communities that are like it, but this is a newer one that's like a resort style. It's awesome for those who come to Orlando temporarily and they want something that kind of pays for itself while they're not staying here. But even in that situation, even that builder, I had a conversation with them 2 weeks ago, and even they were like, oh no, we're actually increasing prices. I mean, that's bonkers. But what we're starting to see is, as it's come around, like, and again, that was a bigger builder. Bigger builders really don't care. They have their price, and they can market to enough people to where they can eventually get someone who's going to pay that price no matter what, because they have whether they're all cash or something like that. Medium and small builders, they don't have that luxury. They have to make their bottom line work, and especially if their model is geared towards, you know, upper middle class people, they kind of got to make things work. Now, obviously, they have to make money. You're not just going to get a free home here. But I think everyone, if you are under contract in a new construction home, or even if you're about to get into one, or you're talking with a builder, I really implore you to try and right out the gate, get some benefit back to you. Closing costs, rate buy down, something, right? Even if you're, let's say you're someone about to sign a contract, and this just popped in my head right now, let's say you're going to sign a contract with a builder, it's a negotiation. And also, if you don't have an agent representing you and you're about to get into a situation, I really encourage you to have an agent represent you, because once you get into contract with a builder, you will not have representation. Like, you'll just get their sales team. And what's funny is I've seen this happen so many times. People get into contract with a builder, they're like, I'm just going to go with their sales rep because they're an agent. But guess what? Halfway down the road, that agent goes to a different company. And then you call the builder and they're like, hey, like, I don't have a representative anymore. Even though technically they're an agent, they should do it. This is a different type of agent. They're paid salary. They're not really like out here like I am or my team trying to make things work, trying to fight for you, because we only get paid when you get the home you want or you sell your home for the right price to get the right profit in your bank account. I don't get paid until that happens. So these people are already on salary. So when they leave, in their mind, they're like, oh, I just left my job. They'll have to figure it out. And it sucks because then you're not getting representation. But if you choose your agent going into it, like you go to buy your home, you're like, hey, Cameron's my agent. Fantastic. Now I'm here to represent you. I can check on the lot. I can make sure things are going correctly and all this jazz. Because like you need, especially if you're not in the state and you're starting this process out of state, I really implore you, especially with this current environment, to do that. Also, if you're like in this situation where you're trying to negotiate a better contract, having an agent stand with you who knows the lingo, who knows the game and how it's played, can kind of give you recommendations for what you can moving forward to make sure the right thing is done for you. But if you're going to get into contract and builder, not to ramble too much, like I really encourage you to say, hey, I'm okay with the price. I'm okay with not really getting any closing costs, but what I do want is at the very minimum, I want to lock my rate now, or I want to buy it down, or whatever you can negotiate. So, and they can buy down the rate. So maybe let's say they're willing to give you like, $5 to $10 grand, and that's used to buy down your rate. So instead of 7, maybe you're closer to 6, or it really depends on what lender you're using, what bank, and your situation. But like, let's say you buy it down, and then within 2 years, you get a chance to refinance to a lower rate. You will get an opportunity. Rates will not stay 7% forever. They never have historically just stayed one exact rate. They fluctuate, and that can get you primed. But at least you're saving yourself like several $100 a month potentially with the right buy down, or even just maybe you can get a price reduction and that rate buy down or that rate lock. So also keep in mind that if you could take the risk moving forward, especially if you're just getting the contract now, you could float it. I always implore you to make sure if you can get the best deal possible going into it. I really encourage it, because right now, if rates do go down next year, the builders probably won't be as flexible to make things happen. You're going to be SOL. But in this current environment right now, in this current market, you are now in position to where you have some more leverage than you did before, especially with buyers decreasing, heading into the holidays. They need to get home. The builder wants to keep homes moving. They want to keep things in the pipeline. So you have a little more power. But again, if you're in contract, even if everything's perfect, reach out, try and get something, right? If you have an agent, reach out to that agent. Or, I'm still happy to take a phone call if you need it, but I'm not your representative. I can't actually tell you what to do for that transaction because I'm not representing you. But I really encourage you to reach out, say price reduction, even like a 5% reduction, like a couple percent reduction, closing cost coverage, willing to buy down your rate when you close again. I really encourage you to reach out and try to make it happen, because in the current environment we're in, you have that kind of power. Don't think you don't have that power. Just because they're a big company, they're builders, even if originally they tell you to take a hike, stand your ground, stand up for yourself. It's your family, it's your money. You need to stand up, make sure you get the right thing done. Doesn't mean it's always going to happen. It doesn't mean they're going to even agree to it. They really could tell you, they could call your bluff, or maybe they do call and they're like, oh, cancel, go ahead. It happens, right? But at least you tried. At least you can say, hey, I tried to make this work. I tried to make it better. And unfortunately, again, if you are in a situation where you can no longer afford that new construction, they're not willing to budge, and unfortunately you have to cancel that construction, like that's why you reach out to me, so we can kind of set up that game plan and just kind of walk through what that looks like for you, because I can promise you that while the new construction side might be unfortunate, like there are still good resale opportunities in this market. There are still opportunities to get closing costs covered, a small reduction in purchase price. You have time to shop for a home. So maybe at the beginning of this year, when like you were getting 20 offers on a home and you were like, hey, new construction seems way easier for me, it's not the case anymore. Now there's maybe a couple offers, homes are sitting a little bit longer, and you have the opportunity as a buyer to kind of have a little more time to shop and maybe fight against a lot less people than you would have beginning of this year or last year. So food for thought, things to think about, that it's not the end of the world if you do have to cancel a new construction contract. And it doesn't mean obviously the title of this video is a nightmare. It can be a nightmare, but I think for most, it's It's not crazy. It's just keep in mind that you have power in this market. I don't care if it's new construction, resale, you have more power than you did the last several years. So something to take account of. And if you are looking to get help in a situation with new construction, or maybe you are looking to get into a resale opportunity, or maybe you want to sell your house and figure out what you want to do next, I'm here to have that conversation with you. You can call me, text me, email me. It doesn't matter. I am here to help you with those decisions, to work it through. I mean, I really do love it. Even if it's like years in advance, or you tentatively want to have a conversation about what could happen if you no longer can afford a new construction home, I'm here to help you. I don't mind doing it all. I really don't. This is what I do every single day, and I love it. And my wife's tired of hearing me talking about it. So hey, feel free to reach out so I can I can get my juice out of my head, because I definitely talk a lot about real estate. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you an insight into what you do, what you could do with a new construction home in this current market. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.